Hey there, welcome to Brainy Founder. In this video, we're going on a journey through the pages of James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. In this summary, we'll explore the ideas and practical strategies shared in each chapter so you can discover how making small changes can truly transform your life. Let's get started. In Chapter 1, The Surprising Power of Atomic Habits, James Clear explores the concept of habits and their profound impact on our lives. He begins by illustrating how making small changes can lead to transformations over time. Clear emphasizes that atomic habits are adjustments that, when practiced, consistently add up to significant results. Clear delves into the idea that our habits shape our identities, and by modifying our habits, we have the power to fundamentally change who we are. He highlights the importance of focusing on the process of habit formation than solely fixating on end goals. By nurturing the habits, individuals can align their actions with their desired identities, which ultimately leads to fulfillment and success. The chapter also addresses misconceptions surrounding habits, challenging beliefs such as thinking that only large and drastic changes can bring progress. Clear argues that it is actually the consistent actions taken every day that truly drive long-term success. By grasping the potential behind habits, individuals can break free from cycles and disappointments associated with failed attempts at change. In Chapter 2, How Your Habits Shape Your Identity and Vice Versa, James Clear dives into this complex relationship between habits and identity. He starts by identifying that our habits are not what we do, but more of a reflection of the kind of person that we view ourselves as being. Clear introduces the concept of identity-based habits, which are behaviors that solidify our sense of self. He makes the case that for one to change habits effectively, one must start by changing one's beliefs about oneself. He advises that, rather than just being over-keen on some behaviors, it is better to be keen on becoming the identity of the type of person one wants to become. What a clear vision of our true identity does then is align our habits with this identity, which is a very compelling internal narrative for positive change. It will take you through in this chapter how our self-image can actually work against us or be helpful for us in the process of habit formation. He clearly elaborates the concept of self-consistency bias, according to which any person's behavior is in coherence with the perception of self. He states that it is an inherent tendency of self-identity, at the same time nurturing already initiated and potential habits. Clear also looks at the power of social identity in forming habits. He illustrates how a social group or community can develop a habit and how individuals can tap into such social forces as part of the strategy to establishing a new habit. In Chapter 3, James Clear offers practical guidelines on how to effectively build better habits within 4 simple steps. Below is what he sets as the 4 steps a person should follow to make habit formation feasible and sustainable. 1. Make it obvious. Clear requires that the desirable behaviors are made visible, accessible, or obvious in our lives. This typically entails creating clear cues or triggers that would make us take action. We can make this easy by increasing the visibility of our desired habits. For instance, in the clear setting out of workout clothes or a healthy snack in some visible place. 2. Make it attractive. Clear adverts. That making habits attractive increases motivation and the probability of adherence in the long term. He referred to the idea of temptation bundling, where the new desired habit is coupled with something enjoyable. Make the appeal of our habits reinforce and make it more attractive by joining it to positive experiences. Clear provides strategies to make your habits more attractive, such as designing an environment visually or finding ways of making the habit formation process fun. 3. Make it easy. Clear advocates for simplifying habits to make them as easy as possible to pick up. He argues that a reduction of friction and removing barriers to behavior change significantly increases the probability of success. Clear means breaking habits into their most basic elements and eliminating unnecessary obstacles. Making the habit easy means that people can get over the friction that often holds them back from starting a new routine. Practical ways are mentioned by Clear to make habits easier, such as simplifying the choices involved or making certain behaviors automatic. 4. Make it satisfying. Clear adds making it instantly rewarding to ensure new actions are reinforced. He argues that making the process of habit development enjoyable helps in reinforcing positive behavior and increasing motivation. Clear suggests finding ways to celebrate small victories and track progress toward larger goals. We do this by making the satisfaction of our habits create feelings of accomplishment. We build positive feedback loops that make people want to keep going. Clear describes the ways how habits can become more satisfying, such as creating a tracking system for your habits or even rewarding yourself for your consistency. In Chapter 4, The Man Who Didn't Look Right, James Clear tells an illustrative story of Scott, a man who had to change his life through 1% shifts over time. Scott's story has such a strong impact because it drives home exactly how powerful such atomic habits can be to change someone's life and produce these compounding efforts through consistent effort over time. Clear starts by narrating the struggles that Scott has to go through, specifically with his weight and his health, generally speaking. Despite making drastic changes in his life time and again, he couldn't keep up the effort for long and regularly fell back into his old habits. But Scott was not one to give up. He decided to try a new approach. Scott began this by baby-stepping on his day-to-day routine, including walking only 5 minutes a day first. Slowly, in team, Scott started to extend the time and intensify his work through bringing in other healthy living methods, such as watching his diet and increasing sleep. Despite his struggles that came along the way, Scott didn't back out of his vision and continued making small steps. He uses the story of Scott to underscore some of the key principles in habit formation. This comes out when he emphasizes the need to begin small and to constantly build on small incremental steps instead of trying to change things in leaps and bounds. By breaking goals into manageable portions and building from successes incrementally over time, Scott was able to realize some amazing results. The chapter underlines that there are compounding effects of this process in forming habits. Clear explains the manner in which small changes, when done consistently, build up to great results over time. Embracing the concept of atomic habits is to create the chance of true, lasting change in life by choosing to focus on long-term progress instead of short-term results. Chapter 5: The Best Way to Start a New Habit. The importance of starting small in any new habit formation journey. He first mentioned the 2-minute rule concept and how it could be a great way to battle inertia and forge a path toward momentum. Clear begins by stating that people often feel overwhelmed when they start a new habit because it's easy to feel like they'll have to do something really big or time-consuming. He claims that breaking a habit down really makes it way easier to overcome the initial friction and then have the confidence and motivation one needs to change. The whole of Chapter 5 emphasizes the simplicity of the 2-minute rule, that any habit can be started by performing it for 2 minutes. Clear explains that the true secret behind this strategy is that it decreases the barrier to entry of new habits. It makes things much more accessible and less intimidating. By committing to just 2 minutes of the desired behavior, one can defeat the temptation to procrastinate and get on the path to building positive momentum. Clear gives lots of examples of the 2-minute rule applied to various habits, such as exercise, reading, and meditation. He further repeats it is consistency and not intensity which is the key to success, and says the reader should try to have a routine in place of some kind, even if only very modest, to start with, just 2 minutes a day. Next one is habit stacking, which is linking a new habit with an already existing habit to make automatic sequences of actions. Clear suggests selecting a current habit or routine and inserting a new behavior into it for the habit that one wants to be something that is desired and hence easier to maintain. In Chapter 6, Motivation is overrated, environment often matters more. Clear negates the old saying about motivation and makes behavior change the actuator. He proposes that the environment has a big influence on our behaviors and habits, and in most cases more than self-control or motivation has. Clear begins by explaining the inadequacies of relying on motivation as a way to sustain habits. He explains that usually motivation is a moving variable and not reliable to sustain the same behavior with time. Clear highlights a research that shows how people who rely solely on motivation often face challenges to realize their set goals over the long-term period. In Chapter 7, The Secret of Self-Control, James Clear stresses the idea of gaining self-control and provides schemes to increase our temptation-resisting power and ability to make good decisions. Clear starts by pointing out the common pitfalls. When trying to exercise self-control, people succumb to their cravings or they wait to do important tasks. Clear argues that self-control is not a matter of willpower or discipline, it is a skill people can practice and grow over time. He has a theory of temptation bundling, that is, combining some more desirable activity that typically is only indulged in as a temptation with a less desirable one in order to. This is a provision an individual the answer to take on the problem before or following upon enjoying things. The chapter also digs deep into the nature of delayed gratification in the exercise of self-control. It clearly tells that the ability to delay the immediate reward with the goal of long-term benefit is of vital importance in achieving an objective and maintaining self-discipline. He further provides measures of boosting our capacities for the use of delayed gratification, like being mindful in the practice and restructuring our perception of rewards. Clear discusses further on how the use of systems and routines can help make sure that self-discipline is in place. He advocates structuring our environment such that distractions and temptations are minimized and our goals are easy to focus on. Additionally, Clear terms accountability and social support as his two practical tools towards staying on course and resisting temptation. Chapter 8 elaborates further on how to make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible in ways one could create an environment where doing good things could be sure while at the same time minimizing temptations that could cause one to engage in the negative. Clear underlines the necessity to proactively design our environment so that it becomes easy to adopt good habits and difficult to be caught in bad ones. Clear introduces the concept of habit stacking, which refers to the integration of a new habit with an old one to form a consistent behavior. Piggybacking on behaviors already established makes it easier for individuals to incorporate new habits in their lives. The book offers practical examples of habit stacking too, for instance, doing push-ups after brushing your teeth and getting right into meditation after getting out of bed, among other examples. The book also includes a chapter on environmental design. Clear involves transforming our physical environment to make the good habits convenient and the bad ones less accessible. This could mean anything from rearranging our living or work spaces so that distractions are minimized to eliminating triggers that prompt us to engage in our unwanted behavior. Clear points out that good habits are to be made as frictionless as possible, with the placement of barriers inserted in the way to dissuade the temptations of bad habits. He encourages visual cues and reminders to help people follow positive behaviors and obstacles in the way of those behaviors that should be avoided. Furthermore, Clear discusses the role of commitment devices in supporting habit formation. These devices serve as pre-commitments to certain behaviors, making it more difficult to deviate from our intended course of action. Examples of commitment devices might be public goal setting, joining an accountability group, or using apps that track progress and encourage users to stay on track with their habits. In Chapter 9, The Cardinal Rule of Behavior Change, James Clear simplifies the basic principle on which successful habit formation is built, that is, consistency. A consistent amount of action over a period of time, instead of ad hoc reliance on bursts of motivation or willpower, can help in creating habits that last. Clear brings out the concept of habit tracking to keep consistency and monitor the progress. He advises to keep record of habits through either a journal, habit tracking apps, or just crossing off the things done in a day on a calendar. Tracking our behavior ensures that we are accountable to ourselves and can also identify patterns or areas of improvement. The chapter talks a lot about having a streak or chain in place of consecutive days in which we do our desired habit. Clear labels this the Seinfeld strategy, named after comedian Jerry Seinfeld, who supposedly would mark off the days on his calendar with a red X after he had completed his writing commitments. Clear explains that the goal is not to be perfect, but not to break the chain of consistency, as each successful repetition is a reinforcement of the habit and is a step towards making it an automatic routine. Moreover, Clear talks about the notion of the plateau of latent potential, which is the time that has transpired after starting a new habit and before the real effects set in. He points out that at this level, progress at times may seem slow or even be halted, evoking feelings of frustration or discouragement. Still, Clear is assuring readers that this is a normal process of habit formation and is repeatedly driving home the point to keep the commitment and keep putting in the work even if results do not come right off the bat. Another element pertinent to habit retention is identity. Clear points out that an identity-based habit-building process will mirror the kind of person one wants to be through a person's actions. This way, when we think that we always do the thing, we further instill our habits and increase the chances of our success. In Chapter 10, How to Stick with Good Habits. Every day, James Clear brings out the ways on how consistency can be maintained and in staying committed to the cause in the long run. Clear appreciates that the problem comes in when it comes to maintaining habits on a daily basis and therefore gives functional answers on how to clear some of the bottlenecks that people face. He argues that success isn't in actually doing something, that is, in hitting some particular goal, rather, it is consistently showing up and putting in each day. Where one shifts perspective to having the routine of their habits in focus, he or she will collect resilience and momentum as time passes with the daily routine. That is what this chapter is discussing further to instill consistency, a concept known as habit stacking. Clear suggests linking new habits to existing routines or behaviors to create a seamless sequence of actions. Good habits can piggyback off strong habits that are already in place so that they are easier to weave into daily life and less likely to be forgotten or dropped. Clear also discusses the concept of making good habits clear in an environment. He suggests putting people around us who share similar goals and values, even going to the extent of putting them in physical spaces such that we could create more enabling environments where these behaviors could be exemplified. Designing our environments in order to support our desired habits helps to reduce the amount of distraction we may experience and thus increase the odds of staying on track. In addition, Clear talks about the fact of mistakes and obstacles being on the path. He encourages the reader to change the attitude to obstacles and look at them as opportunities for learning and growth rather than failure. Stated otherwise, whatever the impacts of those poor results, they can always be reframed into having been temporary defeats as opposed to permanent catastrophes in people's lives. In addition, Clear discusses how the design of our environment can influence our behavior. He suggests that we should optimize our surroundings to make it easier for us to engage in behaviors we desire and more challenging to give in to temptations. This could involve removing triggers and distractions, using cues and reminders, and surrounding ourselves with individuals who share our goals and values. In the conclusion titled The Secret to Achieving Results, James Clear reflects on the insights and principles presented throughout his book. He then provides steps that can be taken to achieve long-term results in forming habits and changing behavior. Clear starts by highlighting the significance of staying committed and persistent when striving for goals and developing habits. He emphasizes that even small consistent actions taken over time can result in outcomes and lasting achievements. Clear motivates readers to embrace the journey of enhancement and prioritize progress than seeking flawlessness. The conclusion also underscores the significance of mindset in shaping behavior and impacting results. It emphasizes the value of embracing a growth mindset where individuals have faith in their capacity to learn, develop, and adjust when faced with challenges. By reframing obstacles as chances for learning and personal development, people can stay motivated and resilient as they strive to achieve their goals.